No hat tonight.
I was going to, and I ended up with like severe hat head, and I couldn't get all like it's sticking straight up. And my glasses, I think they're at work, which sucks because I'm not really in the mood to go to work.
Do you have contacts or no?
Yeah,
Oh, baby. You looking at a screen with contacts in?
yeah, it's great. Okay,
Okay.
trying to make sure I'm in the right spot.
Yeah. I was doing a bit of that for like a minute there, but it always looks kind of weird because I can fix the angle.
Yeah, I
Or
just
like
kinda,
not so much the angle, but the left and right. Not so much the vertical. I don't know how to do that yet.
oh, well, I'll try not to be too long.
Too long.
I got a few inches to go.
Yeah, you're good. And I was looking at Deep's stream the other night, and his camera was like just up too high.
Yeah,
It was killing me softly inside. Maybe that's by design.
I don't know. I think he's got like a really high seat,
Yeah, maybe.
but
True, because he flings his legs in the air.
yeah, exactly.
I was thinking episode 3, considering where we brought episode 2, I think we should kind of try to claw it back up just a touch. And
I would agree with you.
the common trend, I think, for this entire podcast has kind of just been our thoughts on the week and what we've decided is kind of going to be like the period at the end of the sentence for that week, so to
Right.
speak, like that Wednesday to Wednesday kind of deal.
For sure, yeah.
I remember talking to you after your Wednesday stream, and you're like, man, like the pieces are kind of coming together here. Like you're not like you're not as surprised to see results, right? And I think from our talks, what I threw back at you was like, undervalued versus overvalued, right? Like
Yeah.
you are slowly averaging out between those two things. It's like osmosis, right? And you're putting in a large amount of effort, and slowly but surely that tidal flow is coming back the other way and providing you with results, right?
Yeah, it's kind of a weird it's a weird thing. Like you put effort into something, and then when you get something out of it, like it almost feels like you're not supposed to. Like I think that's, you can get into the whole imposter syndrome thing. I'm not going to do it right now. We'll save that. But yeah, it is nice to see that when you put in the work and you do something, when you start to see results, it's kind of gratifying a little bit, which is nice.
Yeah. And I think, again, like to tie into like the second podcast, it's good to have somebody else to see what your stream quality is. And
Oh, absolutely.
like when you do have viewers, they don't know, like I've told you before, like a viewer doesn't know if your previous stream was a bad stream, right? So
Yeah.
like when you come into like these Wednesday streams tonight, which are usually pretty good to you, you know what I mean? Like no one knows if your Sunday stream was good or bad. Like no one, like not most of your viewers are not going to remember that. So
No, you kind of got to live in the moment with it, because if you come on and you have you carry over bad vibes from another time, you just start right on the wrong foot, and then you can watch it back, or one of your friends are watching you, and they're like, okay, yeah, like he's in a bad mood right at the start.
Yeah.
And I'm just not talking about me and you. I'm talking about anybody. You can tell
Mhm.
when anybody in front of a camera, if you know them well enough, you can tell when something's off.
Yeah,
It's just a bad foot to start on.
I know. I was literally like 10 minutes ago, I was watching Nice Wig play Apex, and he's like,
Yeah.
they're on a losing streak right now. And people in his chat are like, yeah, like the vibes aren't here, but we still are. Like, they're like, we still in here like swimwear.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
like they're
Yeah.
trying to hype up like the chat so that it,
Yeah.
so that he turns around. So
Well, that's even with your streams the past couple of days. I know you're like, I'm just going to play Battlefield because I want to. And that
Yeah.
little bit of like, I want to, you can see it right in your face. I'm like, look, he's actually playing a game that he doesn't mind right now. And sometimes just a little bit of like a little repose from what you're doing can also
Yeah.
kind of reset your mind to get you back on task.
yeah, I think, and it kind of helps you step away from, it puts a level of division between you and your previous streams so that you can actually go back and look, right, and say, oh, well, this works because for me, it's like, oh, well, it's like, it's calmer. There's not much screaming, you know, like people aren't
Yeah.
going wild. Like my Battlefield streams aren't going crazy, right? Like they're not doing that good, but I'm still having fun.
Yeah. And
But I've learned, for me anyway, it's like a lot of my viewers are kind of just looking for like super chill kind of like sessions, you know, instead of like
yeah.
hardcore streams. So, we'll see how I have to dial in and
Yeah.
change or adapt kind of to suit everybody, I think.
You grow with your channel, right? Like that's kind of it's kind of an experience where you do it together. It's not just solely the person entertaining and the people watching. You know, you're kind of in union when you get regulars and people that do kind of come in like that. So there is a bit of trust that's built up. And you know, I would never say you're not allowed to try new things and do different things, but you know, because sometimes that's nice. But you're right. You know, like a lot of people come in for you, like that. You know, there's some chill tunes going on. You're just vibing. You're doing your thing. There's a lot of good tips and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes when you switch speeds, some people aren't on board for it and some people are. You know, you get some people that'll follow you through anything and some people that won't, and it's hard to blame them. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's what
for
I
sure.
find. I'm like, if you don't want to watch me, that's fine. You know, it's
Yeah.
nothing personal.
And
But
I think that's where you have to realize that like not all viewers are like you, right? Like just because
yeah,
like you'll watch Fallout and then you'll watch Modern Warfare doesn't mean that they want to watch you play both, right? Like
yeah,
some of them might, but it's tough to pull people across games. And I've even heard, like when I first started, I remember a bunch of streamers saying like, oh, I always only raid on the game that I'm playing. I never raid on another game, right?
yeah,
And as much as it's kind of harsh, you kind of understand why they would do that, right? Because like it's so hard to break out of that bubble and go to those other games that it's better for them to kind of get that publicity on the raid within the game, right? Because it's like
yeah.
it's way more relatable than you know, Father,
Yeah,
I'm
it's
raiding
hard
me
to
on a Thursday.
it's hard to jump around
You
sometimes,
still
and you
gotta do
know,
those.
and you know, there's some things that are just uncompromisable. You know, like I'm going to do that whether it hurts both of us or not. But yeah, I think there's benefits to both, and mostly when you're rating. Like for me, I'm thinking too. Like if I'm having a big night on Fallout, and there's a bunch of people talking Fallout, I'm like, well, maybe if I hit someone on Fallout with a few less, some of these people that have helped me will help them. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it's kind of, let's keep it going, because there's a lot of power in a raid, like a lot of power, especially
Yeah.
starting out with smaller people and stuff like that, just to network and expose yourself. Like I'm streaming with Strike, and you know, half an hour or whatever, I met him through, I brought two people into his 2-person stream. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So it's just,
Yeah.
and that was on, we stayed same game. I was like, you know what? I don't have very many people. Let's go find someone like me to hang out with. And that was
Yeah.
2 months ago. So
Yeah. And now Strike is doing pretty well. Like I think
Exactly.
he's on now. He's got like 10 plus right now. So
yeah,
and I think he just clicked go live. So yeah, I mean it's interesting, like kind of the ties that bind, or like the you know, the webs that get woven here, like especially just on Twitch between all of these people that we've met. Like I always think of like you, like I don't know how, but like you ended up meeting Aveege. You end up getting on like his SlothCrew streaming team, and then
Yeah.
eventually you're in one of his streams, and he raids someone who's doing art or whatever, right? Or
Yeah.
painting.
yeah. And then
Yeah.
JimmyTheBrush, yeah. And that
Yeah.
was just kind of because he was like, you know what, this is cool. You guys should check him out. And that's what I mean. Sometimes it kind of goes the opposite. I was like, whoa, this dude, like, he's the intricacy of what they were doing. I was like, I can't, because I'm, you know, there's art is 0 for me. So I was like, look at what this dude's painting. And he was also, you know, the music that he had on kind of thing. I was like, I can't believe that they're doing this.
Yeah.
And then, so, you know, I stuck around for 45 minutes or so, and it was a good stream. It was something different, and I've actually gone back. Do you know what I mean? And there's
Yeah.
some streams, you know, I'm a little more lurky in just because that's how I watch, but you know, I'm still there, and it's
Yeah.
still support that came from a different avenue. So there are ways to branch out from it for sure.
Yeah, but also I was gonna tie in the fact that you learned that he was playing Monster Cat music.
Yep, that
Which
is where that
then
came from.
Ties into like, I think like one of your greatest climbs in the last like 3 or 4 weeks now has been like the integration of you putting Monster Cat on there and doing like certified bangers, and like going to your
Yeah,
other
it's
scene
crazy.
and like listening to music, and I mean that really, to be honest, that is might somewhat be a coincidence that that happened, but you were able to see something that someone else was doing very well, and then you were kind of like, well, I should probably integrate that in some fashion, or I could integrate that in a slightly different way, but it might work really well for me. You know what I mean? And it has. So
Yeah, well, instead of spending all week trying to find 4 songs that are royalty free, all of a sudden you have a library of thousands of songs that I learned from a friend of Aveege's through a raid that has elevated me, big time, because that's kind of the theme of my channel. And that's, I think we all pick up little things. You always point out stuff you see on people's streams. I think it's a very adaptable industry where you see something you like, you try it. And the only way, because you don't know, how do you know unless you're watching people? You know what I mean?
yeah.
You're all new at some point. So I do think it's big picking up little things from other places.
Yeah. And I think people take that the wrong way too. Like they'll see someone with an SM7B and a Go XLR, and then they've spent almost $1,500 on an audio setup, right?
Yeah.
And they're streaming to 4 or 3 people, right? I think that's been difficult for me to kind of, I mean, I'm not the perfect example. I bought the A6000 because it was cheap, and I ended up, Santa Claus gave me a Go XLR Mini. So I've been like, I bought a new PC because Anna was thrashing my old one. So I'm not a good example, but I think you are for being pretty damn grounded when it comes to like what you're looking to purchase, and being very tactful in what you purchase next, because I guess you realize that there's a lot, like, instead of doing those big jumps, big technology jumps to new things, you're filling in the gaps along the way, instead of just being shit for, not being shit, but like being at this level for like a month and then not doing anything between, and then buying some hardware next month and expecting that's just going to make your stream better. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
you got to think of it all from, it's not just shiny stuff and good specs. It's what you bring to the people that are watching you. And that's, and it all depends on your situation. If you've got all kinds of money, buy whatever you want. If you don't, there is a way to do it cheaper. If you've got kids, maybe you're on a tighter budget like me. If you've got a little more freedom that way, if you have more money for it, then you do it. Like we've talked about with me and a PC. Like I got kids. I got to wait a couple months. I got a budget and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so
it's more tactful.
You really, like you said last week, like we talked about, like the stuff that's not on camera and on stream and all that still matters. And you have to think of it like that. Like could I go buy a PC tomorrow? Sure. Would that be responsible of me? Probably not. So, you make what you can out of what you have. And I love giving advice to people on, affordable ways to do this, because anybody can try it. You know what I mean? They really can.
I need like for instance, my audio setup right now is like what, $600-700, and yours is like one USB mic. And I listen to your tracks on Resolve, and I'm like, these are pretty fucking good. Like right now, you're not getting that friggin' what's it called, voice meter jumping digital thing right now at all.
That's good.
So it's like $35 for the full setup. Like you can have a pretty legit, like, and it's very, like, it's got a decent range. Like I was listening to the track on its own, and I'm like, man, this is like really HD for what it is. Like,
it's not bad at all. And same thing, it was $40 on Amazon for a complete kit. Yeah. So this, my headset's $30. There's ways around it, and that's what you have to do. I think is you work on what you're presenting to people, and then eventually, you kind of pick away at things as you need them. But don't think it as especially if you're suffering or you're not where you want to be, kind of thing. Don't automatically just assume you need like the new flashy this or that. Maybe just, like you said, watch your videos.
Yeah.
Take a breath. See what's going on. If there's a glaring issue, like if you have a microphone that's whining, if there's a high pitched sound, or if there's delay in your camera, like there was with mine before, those are the little things, But if you never go back and watch, which goes back to, like week 1, if you never go back and watch, you're never going to know. And if you don't have friends that point it out, you're really not going to know.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I forgot that too. We did get you a camera like what, 6 weeks ago or so. That did help you.
And that had to, I could see it. I was like, okay, this is a move I need to make.
Yeah.
That was the
I
same with
was,
your RAM
yeah,
on Anno, you know, too. The same thing. It was like you can't crash every half an hour.
yeah,
So
yeah. It was slowing down pretty bad.
yeah,
One thing I wanted to kind of tie in as a lesson between like you and I, and probably with other people too, is like, um, I guess like a month or almost two, I guess a month and a half now, when Aveege hit partner. I remember telling you and really trying to drill it into my head too that I'm like, man, he hit partner without a camera on a single PC, right?
yep,
Like you can't
yep.
understate that.
No,
And I'm sure that that happens to a lot of people that have figured out kind of those little steps that I was talking about,
yeah,
in between the larger blocks of
that's
things, right?
he's a great source of inspiration to talk to about it too, because he knows, you know, like he's like, I'm not comfortable on camera. I'm not going to do it. So he looks for other things to give to his community. What can I do to make up for this? How can I fill in those gaps? How can I make people want to stay? How can I make a community where people want to come enjoy it? And that's what he did, you know, and just like you said, he did it on a single PC. He did it without a camera. And it was just, it's inspirational because he did it with
Yeah.
none of that stuff that people might consider flash. Do you know what I mean? He just was
Yeah.
him, and he just built it from the ground up.
Hmm. And I think that comes down to like vision, which is like he has. Oh, I mean, I'm not going to speak for him because hopefully we'll get him on here eventually. Aveege, please come on here.
Yeah,
Give me a boost. But I think when you have that vision, you kind of like it also applies outside of streaming. Like if you have a vision on something, you probably have a good idea of how to achieve it, and you're probably just ignoring yourself.
Yep.
Like you're ignoring the details, which is why I think it's super dangerous to go out and just buy all the best shit and like think that it's just gonna fall into your lap. You know what I mean? Like you can have all the hardware in the world. It's like people have this there's a quote, I think it probably goes outside of mountain biking as well, but it's called all the gear and no idea. Right?
Yeah.
What do you say it like no idea? All the
Yeah.
gear, no idea. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah.
you can have the best bike and the best everything, but you can still be like a monumental fuck up, right?
Yeah, or not put any effort into anything. Be like, why are these inanimate objects not making me automatically good at something? Which is
Yeah.
a big one too. You know, you can be a good golfer without having top of the line golf clubs. And then when you get
Exactly.
good, you know, you buy the nice set and then you're twice as good. You know what I mean? Because you have
Yeah.
these skills to apply to it.
Which is what I think, to be honest, that's what I think you're next. Like when it does happen, I think that will still be a huge jump for you personally.
Yeah, we'll get
Because
there.
there's like your stream is more like to, you know, it's more flashy and there's more going on, and you know there could be even more going on if, you know, if it could handle it. But I'm like, every time I see that like that circly rainbow, I'm like, oh, sweating, like, okay,
just-
change the, I'm scared.
Yeah, oh, it just about ended me last week, and that's where I said, like, you talk about people having a vision and not putting mind to it.
Yeah.
I don't do that. That's where you come in and you're like, give me the
Yeah.
poke. I don't know where the camera is. I'm trying to poke myself. You know what I mean? though?
Yeah.
You're like, man, you just do it. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to. And you're like, okay, just do it. Like I need a push a lot, and that's where
Yeah.
this kind of teamwork works. Like you kind of have you've got a pretty good mind on your setup and what you're doing and what you're doing when you're live and how to control it. And I'm just kind of there to help and support. Me, I'm like you said, it's flashy, it's all over the place. There's a lot going on, and sometimes I don't know how to reel that in and direct it. And that's why, you know, if you weren't hanging around and doing this with me, I don't know what I'd be doing. Like I said, it'd be all over the map. So, you know, control is a big part of it as well.
Yeah. And I think like that comes down to, you know, having the right people and playing on their skills, right? Like,
Yeah.
I might know a fair bit more on technology than you do, but that doesn't mean that you can't have a computer and you can't figure this out through the proxy that is me. And
the very
like
specific step-by-step list.
Yeah. While I was on vacation drinking cider or something, I'm trying to help Nick, and I had one eye. I literally had one eye trying to read the Facebook chat.
I just remember you being like, okay, that's it. And then you wait. I'm like, I don't want to push it. And you're like, I'm going to be absolutely amazed if this actually fires up. This is not going to work. I'm like, great, here we go. Push the button.
So for those who don't know, I sent Nick some old server hardware. I think, did I send you a power supply as well? I think I sent you just about everything but an SSD and a case. And
SSD case, and I think that was about it. Monitor and all that other crap. But
and then I made Nick build it all on his own, without a voice call or anything, and he somehow figured it out. And he even got the proper pins to the motherboard so he could get it to boot and reset and stuff. So that's the deep lore on
I keep
on
like
your
peeking
setup.
out of the corner of my eye, and I just wonder. I'm like, I wonder if this thing's just gonna crash right now while we're talking about it.
Yeah, I mean it's odds and ends. It's definitely a Franken PC, but it's done you very, very well. So,
Still running.
still running, baby. Yeah.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? I had something else. I swear I had something else to say. I guess we should. I thought it was funny too because I was looking at our lights like right now, and I was looking at them when I do the videos, and
Yeah.
like we've maintained this for a while, and it seems to have worked. So now I'm like, I think it has to stay, like, because even like remember when Tim the Tap Man moved to his new setup, he put in a purple light, and I was like, okay, this light's staying.
Yeah.
Like it has to stay now.
I don't know what it is about the hue, but it really works. Like it just, I don't know.
I actually just like the color now. I
Yeah.
actually just fully like the color.
Yeah. I even sit like this when I'm not streaming or anything. I'm just like,
yeah. I turn it on. I'm like, they're LED bulbs, you know.
Yeah.
Like it's like I think mine's 6 watts or whatever.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? Oh, I had someone come into my stream like a couple weeks ago and like get real technical about lighting. Oh, you need a light above you. You need them on either side, one against the wall, and then he said, then you need one behind you to disassociate you from the background, or to. And that's kind of like what we've done by accident is like create this light. I mean, mine's not really in the right spot, but basically it brings you out of the background, like just like little things.
Little things are huge.
I remember, I think a couple days ago, I hope I'm not repeating myself, but I was in Modtator's stream a few days ago, and now I've realized every time that I'm in there, she's looking at her light to make sure it's like, good, or it's coincidence. It could be completely coincidental. She's having problem with her light, and then I'm there, and she's like, oh God, like he's here, like she, like like maybe he should help me with this, and because like you learn about the light color, like the Kelvin value, right? And I'm like, is that what it is? Kelvin value?
Yeah,
K
I
value?
think so. Yeah, that's what we're going with for right now.
We'll go with K value because I'm not sure. I think it is K for sure. But I was like, yeah, your K value is probably too low, which is going to make you look warm, which is going to make you look red. That was what she was having issues with at the time. But anyway, little things you piece together when you're on this battle and you don't have $400 or $500 worth of lights. You got to figure it out.
Well, that's, people talk about opportunities and, I got to have the nicest this and that and all this. And we're sitting with the same setup, basically, we've been rolling with for a couple months. And like you said, you were just figuring out your new room and your new mic and all that. And Anna was having an event drop, and you're like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm sending the email. And that's kind of another thing, too, when you think about little things. That people ask you, like, well, how'd you get involved? How'd you get drops when you're so new? And how'd you get this? And how'd you do that? And, you're like, I sent the email. I asked the question. That's just another way, like you talk about putting yourself out there and doing this. Yeah. And 4 days later, you got 170 viewers on your stream with the same setup you've had doing the same old thing, and it worked fine. You know what I mean? But that's just another, if you want it, you go get it kind of thing. Like, I know we talk about that a lot. But that just kind of reminded me too. Like I said, you don't have to be, it's kind of the same metaphor for having kids. I always tell people, if you wait till you're ready, you'll never have them. Same with streaming. If you wait till you're ready, you'll never do it. That's just the way that I see it, because you could upgrade constantly. It's not really necessary. It's fine.
Same thing with the gym, right?
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
What do they call them? Like the people that start on January 1st? The resolutioners?
Like resolutionists, yeah.
It's like, oh, well,
Guilty.
on January 1st, I'm going to start. And it's like,
no, you're not. You might start January 1st.
I really don't want to go down this rant because I had something else, but quit lying to yourselves, everybody. You know what I mean?
I'll be back next January.
That's what I mean, right? Like, it's like, and they hit those people with like the 3 month. Oh, you should get 3 months. It's cheaper, knowing full well that by month 2 they're not coming back, right? It's just the setup's wrong. Like the thought process is wrong for that kind of stuff. I don't want to go too far down that, but I did want to tie in what you were saying about people saying, oh, well, how did you get on this drop event? Like full well, basically the way it's worded is like, oh, well, how are you deserving of this, right? And it's
Why'd
like,
you get it and I didn't?
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, there's definitely a level of jealousy, however it might be worded, and that comes right back to like undervalue versus overvalue, right? Like,
Yep.
which one is it going to be? Like, make sure you're pretty much straight in the middle, and that's why I'm saying, I've told to you, like, look, email these people, see what they say, find this guy's email, see what they say. The worst they can say is no, because you and I learned the lesson pretty early on that sometimes they actually say yes, and sometimes good things
Yeah,
happen.
exactly.
Right?
And the no's, you know, they don't really change you.
Yeah.
It is what it is. You know, you're going to get told no a lot in your life. So if you don't put the olive branch out there, or I guess if you don't, you know, I said that completely wrong, but you know what I mean? If you don't put it out there, you can't receive it, kind of thing. Like I'm not just going to telepathically sit here if Fallout ever had drops and be like, I wish they'd call me. You know what I mean? Like you just call them.
You have
send an email. What is this, the 90s? Call them. But yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, send them a fax or something at least. But yeah, like and that's, where was I going with this? I don't even know.
It was somewhere.
It was somewhere. It was pretty good, but I think it's gone. It's gone from the memory.
That happens. You're 30 plus now.
I know. My girlfriend was like, yeah, you're getting the 30-year-old like hair. And I was like, don't fucking say that.
There it is. Yeah. So I said Aveege calls it CRS. Can't remember shit. I said, I think it picks up on you pretty fast. Because I'm the same thing. I'm like, I got some stuff I'm going to talk about tonight. And I sat down. I'm like looking at the light. I'm like, there's nothing going on back here. It is what it is.
You messaged me and you're like, I'm good in 8 minutes. I'm like, oh God, I don't even have notes. Like, what was I doing?
Yeah. But, well, you know, sometimes I think you can probably be over prepared too. It just kind of whatever.
That's true.
Just whatever comes off the cusp is what they get.
I think last week was like just such a bad week for me, like last Wednesday's stream, and I was like definitely in that over prepared, and I wanted things to go a certain way, and then they just derailed. But I mean, people really liked it, and I think they resonate with that.
Yeah, sure. You know, some of those hard talks are stuff people would like to talk to people about, and they just don't feel like they can. And, you know, kind of some ways like this, you hear someone talking about something that you wish you could talk to someone about, and you can kind of work through it with someone without having to say anything. That's kind of
like
nice.
A lurk.
Yeah, like exactly. You're just lurking.
Mental lurk.
You can agree. You're like, yep. But you never have to be like, yes, I'm going through the same thing. You know what I mean? You just take whatever information you want from it and run with it.
Yeah, that's very, very true. We are getting close to the old the mark for you and your stream. Surprisingly, this felt like
by
5 minutes. I hope we actually said some good stuff.
I don't even remember what we talked about.
Either.
I'm like, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I was pretty disheveled today, but geez, I'm gonna have to look back. I feel like GSP. Remember, he said he thought he got abducted by aliens. He didn't know. Like, he used to drive his car in Montreal and not know where he was.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how I got here.
Yeah, kind of the same thing. Looking around, like, how did I get here?
How did I get down here?
I don't
in the
even
basement.
Remember. But anyway.
Hey, maybe in a few months I'll be legally allowed to go visit you. So
that would be nice. I
take that as a threat.
I hate the word bubble. I'm so over the word. Like, I never knew that I could hate the word bubble ever in my life. But someone says bubble now, my shoulders just go right up.
Yeah.
That'd be nice. We could do one of these on a couch.
I know.
Can you imagine, like,
or
the
that
couch
library,
coffee drinking? Yeah, exactly.
That office. If we don't get you fired.
Yeah,
we won't. We'll go there on a Saturday.
Yeah, we're not going there anyway, so.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, no, it'd be fine. It'd be cool to do somewhere like that. Kind of more of funny. It would be. It'd be a lot more interactive. But then I'd have to know what to do with my legs right now, because I'm like trying so hard just to sit still, and my legs are like just going freak under the desk here.
Yeah, that's those little things, man. Like, people have certain kinds of, like, you know, they have like tables that like hide their legs. Like Joe Rogan's podcast is filmed like that, where you can't really see their legs. And I've noticed his new desk, all of the stations have a little like cough button. Yeah. All they have is like it's like a mute button tied to the big mixer. So if anybody wants to cough, they just press the button and it'll mute their mic for like 5 seconds or whatever. Because Joe used to say like, oh yeah, can you move a little closer to the mic? Oh yeah, if you're gonna cough, you know what I mean? Like, and those are the things that, like, even after 1,000 episodes, they hadn't dialed in. funny enough. But
Yeah, I can see that. I'm like, keep your head straight, talking to the mic. My eyes are going crossed. I'm like, make sure that you're right in front of it. I think it's just, but you learn as you go. I think it'll be funny to look back. You know, we keep doing these. Look back at the first one with white face Nick.
Yeah,
have a good laugh at us interrupting each other and looking around.
I know I've been better, but I was literally watching myself in the second one literally bite my tongue to not interrupt you.
It's really hard to find social cues through a camera. I even find that with like Teams meetings at work and stuff like that. You're like, you never quite know when you're like waiting for I'm sitting there all day. I'm like, I got something to say, but I don't know when to jump in. Like you just kind of attack. Like it's hard because you don't have that eye contact. Like I can't look you right in the eye right now kind of thing, you know? So I don't know if you're done, but
it's not as fluid, but yeah, it's definitely strange. Like I'm glad I don't have to do work over the phone like this or like over Zoom or anything. Like I can still see people, because like the Zoom cameras are so bad too. Like your laptop camera, at the distance that people are using it, you look like a goddamn fish. Like you look like Dory.
Yeah.
Like your head is like this big. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't even use my camera on them because where I have to hook it up to all the docks and stuff, I was like, you guys are going to be staring like up at the side of my face. Like, you know, I don't need to see you because everybody's screen sharing anyway. So just idly sitting there on camera.
Cringe.
Yeah, it's bad.
Okay, well, we're going to wrap it up there. My name is Julian, also known as Mr. Elliot, and we've got Father Millennial over here, also known as Nick. This is BTL episode 3, Between the Lives episode 3, and we're going to call it there, boys and girls. Thanks for joining. I hit the stop, but we'll see.